Hey, what's going on out there? I'm Sean Devine. Hope you all are doing well. This video is for those of you who have been asking, how I am blending and mixing the different drums, the different instruments, and creating the core essential balance, how I'm getting my drums to, hit and have a certain impact. And so we're just going to focus today strictly on the leveling and balancing. This is my final mix, and I'm going to play it back for you just so you can hear what that sounds like, but then I'm just going to zero out everything, including the panning, and then we're going to just do everything from scratch. And I'm actually not going to be talking through the process. I just want you guys to just be able to just see the whole workflow of kind of how I approach getting this balance done, because this is probably arguably the most important aspect of mixing, whether it's a beat or a full song, is getting that core balance to feel right and have all the elements to be working together. So let me go ahead and just play this back, and then I'm going to turn off my mic. I don't even have headphones on, which you may notice. I'm going to be mixing this on my monitors because that's how I feel most comfortable in terms of getting that balance down. And I'm going to use the faders on my MIDI controller just because I like the tactile feel of that, but you all can be doing this in your DAWs the same way. So let's play it back and then we'll get started. right, so hopefully that gives you an idea of just the general, workflow and approach. You could see that I was utilizing metering much more in the beginning just to give myself a reference point, especially for the kick and the 808. As soon as you kind of set the initial levels for those, that will ultimately kind of dictate where you go from there in terms of your overall master loudness. Because the kick and the 808 are almost always, especially in this genre, going to be your loudest elements. So I like to just get those balanced first. Of course, you notice that I did the drums first, and I'm a drummer, but also just in the context of this style with modern drums, if the drums aren't hitting right, the rest of the mix is just not going to work. So I usually start with drums and then move on to some of the accessory extra sort of effects and things, and then I start blending in our instruments. And you'll notice that whenever I play it back, the relationship to the drums and the instrumentation is pretty obviously favored towards the drums. So pretty simple. Let's just take a look and a listen one more time. You can see and hear that the kick and the snare are significantly louder than the instrumentation. So I get a ton of questions, asking me how I get my drums to really hit a certain way, hit really hard, and what are kind of the exact measurements or RMS, LUFS levels to set things. I give suggestions in my templates, and that's what they are, is just suggestions, because it's not always going to work. So like you just saw and heard there, it's all about just grabbing the faders and getting a feel and just getting that balance down, but favoring the drums if you really want that aggressive, impactful drum sound. I didn't do a lot of EQing even on these sounds. Talk about, again, just starting with sounds that contextually fit the music and the other elements that are around it. For this production, I started with that little vocal chord, and the kick and the 808 just had the right tone to it. So then it's just about leveling and balancing those out. But anyways, y'all, I think that pretty much covers it in terms of just doing the leveling and the panning. But I just feel like that there's never can be too much of you guys just getting into the actual process versus, me just showing you different kinds of plugins. That's all cool. But, it's really about sitting down and getting the experience of just moving these faders up and down in relation to one another. This is the most powerful tool as a mix engineer that you have, is to balance and create that relationship, to create space for elements, to utilize panning to widen the sound stage and just get a much more exciting mix. You get to make all these decisions. So going back to those of you who ask about the RMS levels and all that, that may be the wrong question. Not always, but I'm just saying, start thinking in terms of, making these creative choices for what feels right, not, just a numerical value or what you're seeing there. So anyways, y'all, I hope this is helpful in terms of, the essential core leveling and balancing of your beat mixes. If you have any questions about what we did here and how I approached it, feel free to leave a comment below. If you learned anything in the video, please like, subscribe, and consider sharing. We'll talk to you soon.